Hi, welcome to the shop. I pulled out a couple of planes for us to play with and take a look at. These are not very readily available to a lot of people. It took me many years before I came across a set that I could buy that was reasonable, and it isn't a complete set, as you can see. It's only two of the sizes, the 3/8 and the 1/2 inch. In John Walter's Guide to Stanley Tools, there was a 1/4 inch, a 3/8 and a 1/2 inch. So I'm missing the 1/4 inch of these planes, but I find them really interesting, and I wanted to examine them in front of you and maybe get your impression of them and how they work. But took them off the wall for you to see, and let's get on with it. Number 144, corner rounding plane. Manufactured from 1925 to 1943. Patents to E.A. Shades. October 6th, 1925 is the design pattern. 7.5 inches long. Cast iron, Japan. Fantastic plane for rounding an edge to a set radius. 3 different sizes. Let's take a look at that plane. You saw them on the wall. Here's one. Here's another. Now, which do these go with? This says this is the 144 1/2 inch. One of the interesting things about this plane, you can see the shape of the cut that it makes, but the sizes are always very hard to find, and that's because they're right along this edge here, and they tend to be a little worn out. Let's see what we have here. 3/8 circle. Probably hard for you to see. I'll have to take a still shot of it. So this is a 3/8. Stanley 144 3/8. So that goes with that one. This one goes with this, and it says it's a 1/2 inch. Clearly marked here. See if you can see that. And as well on this edge right here. Now, they're interesting planes. I can take this off to show you. It's marked number 144 here. U.S. patent 10625 here. Made in USA. Beautiful Japanning. So there's a third one of these, one that I don't have. But this will do for a description of it. No marking here of any sort, or at the top, or the edges. Let's take a look at the other one. The 3/8 written here. 3/8 circle. The iron. Same thing, 144 patent. Made in USA. But this one has Sweetheart logo. Made in USA on the iron. A little different. Is there a mark on the back? Not that I can tell. So let's take a look at these and talk about what they do. Get rid of this and get on with the video. I'm going to read to you a little bit about this plane from the book. It says earlier castings have patent applied for. Later castings have Shades patent in the casting. Both of these have the casting in the of the patent on the body. Both of them are known with the Sweetheart trademark on the cutters. And the last model has a notched trademark on the cutter. The size is stamped on the bottom of the skate, which is kind of interesting that they refer to this part as a skate, because you're actually riding here as opposed to here. When you're using this plane, the plane fits around like this. So I'm not sure why it says the skate. The 1/4" size is the most scarce, which is one that I don't have, and it goes on from there. They're interesting planes. Let me show you the construction of them. I'm fascinated because they're 100% cast iron. So let me bring this in a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about here. So here's the plane itself. I'm going to pan out a little bit so I get the whole plane in the picture for you. Here you go, and this is the right side of the plane. Here is the number of it, the 144. That's the U.S. patent number. Made in USA. Japan on this edge. This is the edge that is not, this edge isn't Japan. And here on what he's calling the skate, but I don't think it is the 1/2" circle there. And here's the profile that you can see. And the other side is really nicely done with this checkering background here, the Stanley trademark, and an interesting shape, and fits in the hand really well. You can put your forward finger here, and this is rounded over to fit nicely in the palm, so that's also very nice. Let's see how it works. So this is the 3/8, the smaller of the two, and you can see a slight variation in that profile there. But we're going to start with the 3/8" one on the edge of this board, and let's see how it works. They're interesting blades because the blades are cutting completely around. You can see there's an exposed blade on the side here as well as the one on the top. So you want this one very much flush with this portion here. There's no real guide for holding it this way, so you have to really just kind of use your muscle memory as you use it to keep it in the right position. Now, that to me is not cutting very well the curve that we're talking about. So I think we need to do a little tune-up on the positioning of this iron. Let's take care of that now. This is the 3/8, and this is the 1/2". Now, if we look closely at the cutter for this, or the iron, we can see that this is fairly polished well. Whether it's sharp, we don't know, but I'm not feeling any cutting on this side part. And you see, in reality, it should be cutting all the way around, and the iron should be visible looking straight down the plane. It should be barely visible here and here at the same time. So right now it's obviously visible in this portion, but not up here. So we're going to move the iron very carefully using this screw here to loosen, and we'll have to see. That may have been just over sharpened on that wall there, that it no longer protrudes out here. So we're going to have to check on that. But let's get the iron loose. Simple screwdriver here to loosen this bolt. Then we can just loosen it finger tight, just a little open up, so that the iron comes out clean. And you can see the seating portion for where that iron goes. And here's the shape of the iron. And you can see that this part here may be overly sharpened, so that we may have to bring it further up in order to get more depth, or to pull it out of its seating position. So let's play around with that first. I can see right here where this is rather dull as well. So let's get to sharpening it a little bit. So we've got the cutter out, and you can see there's the Sweetheart logo, made in USA, whereas the other one had the size of the cutter up there. But down here, if we come down a little bit, we'll see that there is the 3/8 CIR circle. Here is the shape of the roundover. Very minor. So let's take a look at what we need to do to sharpen her up. You can see the reflective quality of this edge, but none really here on this side. So we really need to polish up this edge here by bringing this out this way. But first we'll start by flattening the back. So we put a little oil on this stone here, and let's try to get that back a little bit flatter. This is a fairly fine stone. Let's see how that looks. We could use a little more along this edge here, I think. A little bit of minor pitting right on that edge. Let's correct that. Getting there. Could use a little more. You can see right here that that's not getting hit. So under close examination, we still need to take a little more off there. Getting very close. Okay, I'm seeing clear all the way around the edge, even though there's a little hollow right there, but I'm not going to worry about that. I think that's enough. And so now we have to go about hitting this side here very carefully. In examining some of my sharpening stones, I came upon this cone. It's a fairly I wouldn't say it's fine, but it's a medium stone, and it fits nicely because it's graduated right about in there. And so we're going to do some slow strokes very carefully, just running this out through here to sharpen it. A little bit of lubrication on the stone, I find, will help it cut smoother, and we're going to take it very easy. Just come in here, and I'm watching that edge to make sure I don't go too deep. Just working that in there. And as I go in this direction, I try to meet up with this edge and then work off that way, like you're using a kitchen steel to sharpen a knife. And I watch for what's shiny and what's not in there, because that'll tell me where I'm cutting. I'm still very dull on this very end here, so I really want to get some work done there. So this is a square stone, smaller, and still I want to put a little bit of lubrication on it. There we go. You can just spread this out. There we go. Now we're going to carefully put this stone right on this edge here and work it this way, paying attention to what gets shined in there. And I can see that the middle of that is not getting anything right in there. And I can feel that this is not a cutting edge yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the vise, and I'm going to use the stone on it this way where I get more control. Okay. So now you can see that the cutting edge is coming up and around into here. It doesn't matter too much at the very end, but you need it around this curve. And the back is fairly flat, and I'm getting an edge on it there. And cleaned up a little bit here. Stanley, sweetheart. Now we're going to put this back into the plane, and we'll see how we line her up. So this isn't very difficult, but it's sort of a trial and error type thing, lining up the iron where you want it to. I'm just going to bring that to a light finger hold so this doesn't fall out. And now we have to look at the positioning of the iron, and here you can see the sharp edge going around. And what we have to do is we have to look down here, and we can see that this is way too exposed here and not exposed enough over there. So use my finger to back this out just a little bit. Retighten that gently, and let's take another look. Now that may be too far back, but I am, when I bring my finger gently down through here, I do feel an edge. And I don't feel an edge on this side here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this iron out a little, just a hair, and finger tighten this. So now you see it's sitting a little proud right there. And that is going to expose more of the iron along this edge here, right there. So when I look down there, it looks pretty good. We're going to try it out on some wood, but first I'm going to nudge this screw a little tighter before, so that it doesn't loosen up as I'm using the plane. So we're just going to nudge that a little bit. We'll try it out on a piece of wood. No cut whatsoever. So I have to loosen this up. This is kind of the tricky part of this plane. Bring it onto here and push the blade all the way down. And then we will tighten it up. See what kind of a cut we get. Well, that is giving us a ridge here, so that's no good. And that means that the iron is too far out. That sounds a lot better. Still getting a ridge though. And that means that this part here is still sticking out too proud. Okay, so I've flattened out the surface there again to give us a clean place to start working on the profile. I'm going to try the 3/8. Not a lot of a cut, but that's probably best. This test piece of mine, I keep squaring up to restart because I want to be fair to each one of the pieces. So when I get a nice square edge, then I go back with that rounding plane, and we'll see how it does. So the 3/8 inch refers to a 3/8 inch circle. 1/4 of it is what it's doing. So if you measure with a circle guide the contour of this here, and you line it up with the 3/8, you see that it's just 1/4 of that circle, and it's right in that centerpiece. So you want this to be flat against the board and this to be flat against the board. And the cutting portion is right there in the middle. So let's see how this goes. So I'm going to be very gentle and not a high pressure cut, and you can see that it's a little sliver that it's taking off. And that's good, because all we want is that little corner rounded over. And so I'm going to do it again. And the second pass completes it. So that is looking pretty good. And it's got a nice curve to it, nice gentle curve to it. So that's it. Nice shape. So that worked fairly well. Let's go back over that one with the 1/2 inch and increase it. So this would be 1/4 of a 1/2 inch circle. And you see the kind of thing that it's cutting out, because it's just rounding off that edge, and no more or less. Here we go. Getting rounder. Rounder. I'm just digging out that corner. That feels nice. And I can see here what's cutting and what's not. Not that edge, but in to the circle part, into the corner. And that's nice. That's a nice round over. It's not quite even. The back is perfect. Let's take a little bit across the front, and that is really good. Let me give you a picture of that right here. A nice round over. The 1/2 inch is done well. So here's the 1/2 inch circle, and we're going to line it up with the corner that we just rounded over. So there you can see that's a 1/2 inch round over. So there you have it, 2 interesting planes. Another thing to note is that this iron extends fairly far out here, and this one is set way back. So that, I believe, would be in all of the use in the sharpening over the years. But they're 2 beautiful planes. I love the idea that they're completely made of iron. I like a lot of the Stanley iron planes. And they just really do a nice job, as you can see here on this piece here has the 1/2 inch round over here and the 3/8 on this side, and it's a really nice, clean, smooth surface once we got that iron polished up. But they're fun planes, a little scarce. Not rare. They exist out there, and you can find them. But I think the workmanship, the way it's held, the way it's comfortable to the hand, I think this was really a great invention, and still working very well today. Well, hey, listen. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you'll share it with your friends, and and come back and watch some more of my videos. I really enjoy making them, and I love playing around with these tools and really examining them a little closer than I would when I'm just using them. So until I see you again, everybody, take care of yourselves, and keep an eye out for these. If you find them in a flea market or something, snatch them up, and I think you'll really have a lot of fun with them and get a lot of use. Take care.